Hello, I'm Michael Finley of Santa Clarita, California, a write-in candidate for President of the United States in 2016. Today is Memorial Day 2014, Memorial in Santa Clarita, California. I could not think of a better time or place to talk to you about my tension is that American lives and foreign lives must no longer be wasted upon America's involvement in self-determination. We can certainly use diplomatic pressures and economic pressures, but war should be reserved for protecting America and our allies. About some of the things that happened in the past. Let's start with the most recent past. In the past few years, the nation of Syria has been undergoing a civil war to determine whether or not President Assad will remain in charge of Syria. And most of the information I've seen seems to indicate that the majority of the Syrian people would like him to remain in power. Our country almost went to war in Syria in 2013, and thank goodness a large majority of Americans contacted their political representatives and told them that they object to the plan to get involved in the Syrian conflict. So our military was not sent in. However, according to many international news media reports, they believe that the American CIA has been funding and providing weapons to the rebels in Syria. That's over the objection of the American people, and that's wrong. That kind of thing must stop. Let's talk about another unpopular conflict in which we did inject ourselves, the Vietnam War. Now, we were told that our reason for going to war in Vietnam was because a Viet Cong gunboat fired on an American warship in the Bay of Tonkin. This is called the Bay of Tonkin incident. That's Tonkin, and you can look that up. You can also look up, because most Americans are not aware, the fact that our government later admitted that the Bay of Tonkin incident never happened. In other words, they lied to the American people and the international community about their reason for going to war in Vietnam. So why were we there? Well, supposedly to stop the spread of communism, which sounds great. I mean, I'm not in favor of communism. However, I cannot imagine that the horrors of communism would have been as bad as the real horrors that came about because of our involvement in that war. According to American estimates, at least 1.1 million people on both sides died in that conflict, including women and children. The Vietnamese estimate is about 3 times that, over 3 million people that they believe died in that conflict. Also, because of the effects of Agent Orange, many children have suffered horrific birth defects. That's children of American veterans, of Vietnamese veterans, and of average Vietnamese people that have been disfigured, deformed, stillborn, born with defects that are unimaginable and cause tremendous burdens upon those families and upon their children. And all of this could have been avoided if we had stayed out of the conflict. Now, what if we had stayed out of the conflict and Vietnam became a communist country anyway? Wouldn't we have better diplomatic relations with the government of Vietnam if we showed the proper respect for their people to determine their own political makeup and structure? I think that we would. Now, that war was unpopular, and as a result, many of our veterans were unpopular with the American people. And I think that's wrong. I don't think the fault lies with our veterans. Most of them were pressed into service through a draft. Most of them were not given adequate information and situational awareness to know that things they were being ordered to do were morally repugnant and in some cases illegal. And therefore, I don't hold them accountable for that. I do think that when a soldier has adequate information to know that what they're being ordered to do is morally repugnant, that they have a responsibility to stand up for what's right and refuse to obey improper, immoral, and illegal orders. But I don't think that's what happens most of the time. Now, the military is a very polarizing issue in our country. There are people on one side who have a very patriotic view and believe that our military and our country do no wrong. And that we should just be, rah, rah, go America. And there are other people on the other extreme who feel that almost everything our military does is wrong. And that we should not even have respect for our men and women who serve. Well, I'd like you to know how I feel about this issue, so that you know where I stand and that you know it's from my heart. I love our men and women who serve. I think every drop of their blood that is shed, I think every drop of their sweat that they give for our country, risking their lives, is precious. And that they deserve our respect and appreciation. I also believe that because of that sanctity of human life, that is not something that should be spent lightly. We should not be wasting human lives in America or in other countries. We should only be going to war when it's absolutely necessary, and not because we want to shape how another country looks and is structured. What a lot of Americans don't know is that in the international community, we are, for the most part, not seen as knights in shining armor riding in on a white horse to save the day. We are seen as arrogant, uninformed meddlers in other countries' business, who somehow think that we know better than the people of those other countries do what their country should look like and how it should be run. And you know what? They probably have a point. Now, I love America, but I don't appreciate when our leadership shows inadequate respect for human life and for other people's right to determine how their country functions. We believe that we Americans have the right to determine who runs our country and what kinds of political ideals they espouse. Why don't we show that kind of respect for people of other countries and their right to determine those things? Now, I do think we need a strong military. I do think that America is a prime piece of real estate, probably the best land on the face of this beautiful planet. And if we're not ready to protect it, other countries will gladly come in with a strong military and take it from us. So we need to be prepared to protect ourselves. And we should do so in a way that shows respect for human life and respect for other countries. When we treat other countries with proper dignity, when we show respect for other people in their right to determine what their country looks like, we will be more respected in the world community. Our opinions will make a bigger difference. Our diplomatic efforts will be stronger and more effective. We need a chief executive, a commander-in-chief, a president who will show that kind of respect, who will earn for America the kind of respect it deserves in the world community by making us better citizens of the world community. That is me, Michael Finley of Santa Clarita, California. Please write my name in on the ballot in 2016. Why do you need to write me in? Because I do not belong to a political party. I have too many disagreements with their viewpoints. I also do not accept campaign contributions, not because I can't get them, I've been offered them, but because I refuse to sell my soul to the highest bidder and therefore be in conflict of interest with the people of the United States. It is my desire to be free to represent you in the best way I know how to do. And I am an intelligent, well-informed American who is prepared to serve his country to the best of his ability. What I would ask of you is that you share this message if you like it. Tweet about it. Share it on social media, your favorite social media. Tell your friends about it, verbally. You know, that old thing where you talk to people in real life? That works great. Email people links to this video. Let's get the message out. Let's make it happen. You can make change in America. You can elect people who refuse to bow to the wealthiest Americans who think that they have a bigger right to determine how this country functions than the average American does. I care about the average American. I care about human beings, and I want to make real change happen as soon as possible. Remember my name, Michael D. Finley, Santa Clarita, California. Thank you.